January 17, 1950. 7:27 p.m. The north end of Boston was quiet, cold, ordinary. Then 11 shadows walked toward a brick building on Prince Street, the armored car depot of Brinks. They wore navy pea coats, chauffeur caps, Halloween masks. They looked official, like they belonged. Inside, 5 employees were wrapping up the day. By 7:30 p.m., the door opened. No screaming. No chaos. Just calm voices and drawn guns. The employees were tied up with surgical precision. The men knew exactly where to go. For 29 minutes, they worked the vault and money room like clockwork. No fingerprints. No wasted movement. No mistakes. At 7:59 p.m., they walked out into the night carrying $1,218,211 in cash. $1,557,183 in checks and money orders. A total of $2,775,394. In 1950, it was the largest cash robbery in American history. And then nothing. No immediate suspects. No solid leads. Years passed. The case went cold until January 1956, just days before the 6-year statute of limitations expired on January 17. Someone talked. Arrests followed. But most of the money, gone forever. The robbery had been nearly perfect. Nearly. December 11, 1978. 3:12 a.m. The cargo area of John F. Kennedy International Airport, New York City, is silent. Cold. Routine. Inside a warehouse operated by Lufthansa, millions of dollars in overseas cash exchanges sit untouched. Then a van rolls in. Men step out, calm, focused. They know the layout. They know the schedule. They know exactly who's working. Employees are rounded up within minutes. No alarm screaming. No panic. Just quiet threats. Handcuffs click shut. Keys are produced. Codes are entered. Metal doors open. Canvas bags fill fast. $5 million in cash. $875,000 in jewelry. A total of $5,875,000. In 1978, it becomes the largest cash robbery in American history. The clock keeps moving. At 4:16 a.m., after just 64 minutes inside, the van is loaded. It disappears into the winter darkness of New York City. No immediate arrests. No immediate answers. Headlines explode. Investigators follow leads into organized crime circles, pointing toward associates of the Louki's crime family. Then something changes. People connected to the heist begin turning up dead. One by one. Loose ends are being erased. The man believed to have planned it all walks free for years. Never convicted for the robbery. The money, never recovered. Millions vanished in just over an hour. The perfect airport heist. Almost.
A man in a suit boarded a routine flight, calm, polite, paying cash for his ticket. He ordered a drink, smiled, and handed the flight attendant a note. Not a shout, not a threat, just quiet confidence. He had a bomb. No panic, no chaos, only instructions, $200,000, 4 parachutes, and a safe landing for the passengers. The crew complied. The money was delivered. The passengers were set free. The plane took off again, lighter, quieter, stranger. Somewhere over the dark forests of the Northwest, he stood, tied the money to himself, opened the rear stairs of the plane, and vanished into the night. No body, no confirmed landing, no trace. Years later, A small bundle of rotting cash appeared on a riverbank. The serial numbers matched. Nothing else. No trail, no explanation. Was he a trained jumper or a desperate man gambling on luck? Did he survive the night or meet his end in the forest? Was the name he used real or just a shadow? Unlike most criminals, he didn't crave attention. Unlike most hijackers, he didn't leave violence behind. He disappeared, and the world is left only with a plane, a river, and a story that refuses to end.
They didn't catch him because he looked dangerous. They caught him because repetition exposes intention. At first, disappearances appeared unrelated. Different cities, different times, different police departments. Reports stayed local. Patterns stayed buried. Witnesses described the same calm stranger, the same compact car, the same request for help, but nothing about him felt urgent enough to pursue. That was the first failure, mistaking normal for harmless. He understood people. He borrowed injury, politeness, and authority. He didn't rush. He observed how trust was given and how easily it could be taken. Psychologically, this wasn't chaos, it was rehearsal. Each crime refined the next. Control mattered more than speed. He was finally stopped through accumulation, not insight, routine traffic checks, survivors who escaped, physical evidence that contradicted his words. Even then, belief in his intelligence became another blind spot. He was trusted to cooperate. He was trusted to stay. He didn't. In the end, he wasn't exposed by brilliance, but by consistency. A man who depended on being forgettable left too many identical traces. In 1870, a boy was born in Washington, D.C., into a family already marked by mental illness. His father was 75 years old at the time of his birth. By the age of 5, he was placed in an orphanage where physical punishment was common. He later admitted that those beatings awakened something in him. Pain became tied to pleasure, humiliation to desire. As he grew older, his behavior escalated into compulsive self-harm, obsessive religious delusions, and violent fantasies. By the 1910s and 1920s, he was targeting vulnerable children, often using fake identities and handwritten letters to lure families. He blended in as a quiet, elderly man, polite, thin, gray-haired, someone who looked harmless. Police in the 1920s faced limitations: no centralized databases, no modern profiling, and poor communication between states. Early disappearances weren't connected. Evidence was mishandled. Witness descriptions were vague. He moved frequently and used boarding houses, making tracking difficult. His capture in 1934 came not from forensic brilliance, but from arrogance. He sent a disturbing letter to a victim's mother. The stationery was traced to a boarding house. A landlady remembered a frail, older tenant who left behind a peculiar envelope. That detail led detectives to him. He was 64 years old when arrested. In 1936, he was executed. His case later shaped early criminal profiling, revealing patterns of sadism, religious fixation, manipulation, and the dangerous invisibility of predators who appear ordinary. In the quiet hours of a summer night in 1912, a small Midwestern town slept without knowing it would soon be remembered forever. Behind drawn curtains, a family home held 8 souls: parents, children, and 2 young guests, unaware that the night would not pass as usual. No screams were reported, no alarms were raised. Only morning light revealed a silence that felt wrong. Inside, mirrors had been carefully covered, windows obscured. An ordinary household tool, taken from within the home, had been used, not in haste, but with unsettling patience. Room by room, the house had been visited. No one awakened in time to flee. What followed was confusion. Crowds entered freely. Evidence dissolved under curious footsteps. Suspects appeared, then faded. A traveling preacher, a respected local figure, whispers of a wider pattern stretching across the country. Trials came and went. Certainty never did. More than a century later, the house still stands. Some say it remembers. And the town of 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐄𝐎 still lives with the question that never left. Who walked through that house and vanished before dawn?
A city already heavy with war and illness began waking to broken doors. In the quiet hours before dawn, wooden panels were pried loose, not kicked in, but carefully removed. Inside, sleeping families were met with a weapon that had belonged to them all along, lifted from sheds only minutes earlier. The attacks came without warning, often leaving survivors who couldn't explain why they were spared. The victims followed a pattern: shopkeepers, immigrants, households tied to the same roots, yet no clear motive ever surfaced. Fear spread faster than reason. Locks were reinforced. Night watches formed. Still, the intrusions continued, irregular but precise. Then a message arrived at a newspaper. It spoke not like a man, but like something watching from above. It promised another visit on a specific night, with one condition for mercy: music, loud, rhythmic, alive. That evening, the city refused silence. Homes, bars, even streets pulsed with sound, and for once, nothing happened. After that, the visit stopped. No arrests followed, no truth emerged. Only a question lingered: whether the violence ended because it chose to, or because it had already been remembered forever.
In May of 1861, a boy is born in New Hampshire. By his mid-20s, he has learned something chilling. People trust credentials more than character. Fast forward to 1891. At age 30, he arrives in Chicago as the city prepares for the World's Fair of 1893. While others build exhibits, he builds walls, inside walls, at 63rd and Wallace. Rooms change shape. Hallways lead nowhere. No one writes complaints. Missing people are common in a booming city. Police don't see a pattern. Jurisdictions don't talk. Most victims are young, transient, uninsured, easy to misfile, easier to forget. In September 1894, the story cracks, but not from murder. It's insurance fraud. A man named Benjamin Peitzel is found dead on September 2, 1894 in Philadelphia. The paperwork doesn't add up. That matters more than the body. Psychologically, the killer isn't impulsive. He's organized, charming, detached. Control is the reward, not violence itself. People are instruments. By November 1894, the trail is undeniable. On May 7, 1896, at age 34, the man is executed. The greatest mistake wasn't blindness. It was believing monsters look different from us.
It began with quiet places, lovers parked where the city lights couldn't reach. A lake, a road, a moment meant to be harmless. Then came the sound that ends moments forever. He didn't just want bodies. He wanted witnesses. If no one survived, he made sure someone read about it. Envelopes arrived at newspapers, carefully addressed, impossible to ignore. Inside were symbols that looked like a child's game and a madman's diary. He dared them to solve him. He dared them to stop him. The police followed shadows. The public followed fear. He wrote again and again, boasting about crimes only the killer could know, counting victims like trophies, promising more. Once he stepped into the city itself, broad daylight, streets breathing, people everywhere. A man entered a cab. A man exited history. And the driver never made it home. A witness saw him walk away. Not run. Not rush. Just disappear into the ordinary. Years passed. Letters slowed. Then stopped. Some say he feared being caught. Others say he got what he wanted: attention, terror, immortality. There were rumors of money tied to his name, rewards that grew with time, myths stacked on truth until no one could tell where one ended. What's certain is this: he was never arrested, never identified, never unmasked. No grave, no confession. Just symbols, silence, and a question that still hasn't been answered. Was he a genius? A coward? Or just a man who understood one thing perfectly: that being remembered can be deadlier than being found.